Hello, Collective, to a timeless reading of yours. Please bear in mind a few things before we get into your reading. I'm Master Seventh that reads these energies for you, aka Seventh. Should you want to know who she is, what she's all about, her details are found in the description box below. Should you want to know what kind of services she offers, I offer various forms of tarot intuitive insights and or remote healing wellness, for I am a master healer. And more details can be found via the link below. I'm also currently running an optional digital punch card should you want to reach out and have one assigned to you. It means that within 30 days, within purchases of wellness drops and or single card messages, you get a free mini reading from me on the 10th service, okay? So something to browse. You may also benefit from my sister channel. It is the sister channel, sister energies for this channel. And the link to get over there is also found in the description box below, or access and made available on the channel. Alright, Collective, whatever brings you here may have caught a vibe, alright, and seeing whether or not the vibe is fitting for some story fitting time for you. These are timeless insights. I'm going to repeat that over and over again. Whatever brings you here, there may be something here for you, okay? Past, present, and future, with that being said, it is irrelevant. It's like a good story. Feminine, masculine energies are non-gender specific. Alright, Collective. I'm already feeling a very juicy vibe. A bit sassy. Sassiness is coming from the feminine energy for sure. For sure. But this feminine energy is, it's an over assertive masculine aspect of this feminine energy. Yep, there it goes. Oh, I saw that. 5 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. All right, Justice, 3 of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, and the Hermit energy. All right, so it seems as though feminine energy is taking the lead, however that may apply to you. All right, femininity is, let's say, more or less the emotional parts within ourselves. The masculinity is how we show up to life, okay? So the Justice and the Hermit are kind of taking the lead as far as navigating the so-called ambiguous title of this bubble, this oracle message, so to say, within this collective reading. And it's more about that the intuition of self provides true justice. And since justice is never in favor of, but more so is, then how can we become compassionate with that brutal knowing that something is how it is, and it doesn't care about the emotional consequences due to certain choices. This energy of the major arcana of the story of old traditional tarot tells the individual that however you utilize your wisdom upon your knowledge of life, however and whenever that is, it is the key to understanding certain narratives that are out of your control, but in various forms of control under the Justice energy. So could it be that someone seeking true justice in the court of law? Absolutely, it could mean that. Could it mean that someone's looking for true justice in regards to family politics? Absolutely. This covers criminal, and this covers civil, domestic, spiritual, gender, politics, and the overall diet of consumption is covered by the Justice card. And however you consume it and you digest the information is the Hermit energy. How does this energy get determined? Well, this is the minor arcana for traditional tarot. And it indicates with these two cards here that the Two of Pentacles is that you have choices and you can weigh the odds and evens of those choices, the pros and cons, the negatives and positive, the light versus dark. And ironically, you end up coming back into a ping pong of going back and forth. You know, somehow, some way, it'll go to the opposite end and find its way maybe on the other side again. It's a strange comfort, let's put it that way, knowing that there are two sides to every story. Duality is spoken of a lot when it comes to building connection and understanding something. You have to dissect it, and the first thing when you dissect something, it more or less becomes into splitting of two. So a lot of you have had emotional pain done onto you with the Three of Swords. There were just too many blows onto the heart until it sunk. That's what the Three of Swords energy is. And every moment, you didn't know how, you didn't know when, you didn't understand what, you didn't maybe comprehend who, the whys. And somehow you're here. And maybe those three swords are of your past. And maybe, yeah, you dabble with certain social norms of certain interests of entertaining those individuals who hurt you. And that's when we take a pause for a moment and we wonder, what kind of justice and intuitive knowledge do you feed yourself entertaining situations that, although they stabbed you, you turn around and lick your own wound instead of holding the person that stabbed you responsible for wounding you. And that's when it comes in more or less that gray area of in-between, where the ball that bounces back and forth of possibilities, the pros and cons. We may not know all the vastness of pros, or maybe we accept the inevitability of what pro can provide. And then we go on the opposite end and say, oh, we can more or less understand the inevitability of the cons if we're going to do pros and cons, you know? Yet, the mess is not the pro, and the mess isn't the con, it's the right in the middle. Right in the middle. That middle point of the threshold, right fucking here, is the most complicated part of human intelligence. That's where it hurts, that's where we cry, that's where we feel pain, that's where we have disease, we have cancerous energy, we have euphoric moments, we have daunting memories, beautiful gratitude. We have so much possibilities right here in the middle area, and not a lot of people know how to talk about it. Yet they feel a lot. And usually, what gets you paying attention that there's something there is mass of energy. Because if you didn't have anything there would be nothing for you to worry about, nothing for you to have draw concern to, nothing to focus on, no ailment, no agitation, no inflammation, no irritation, no scratching of the wound, no belittling, no lacking of anything. That's where it hurts the most. Not the justice of what we can't control in the infinitum, because ultimately what has control over that is what holds it. The hands of opportunities for this person in the picture. This almost gives me the appeal of, like, in Monopoly, I forgot what you call it, but it's the thumble, I think, where you put it over your finger so you stop yourself from pricking yourself when you do the needle and the thread kind of thing. That's what it looks like. So it's more like a caricature. You're a caricature in an inevitability that you get to play in by being your own character. And as your own character, you feel, you smell, you taste, you long, you desire, you have passion, you crave, you create pain. You hold yourself accountable for the goods that you do and the bad that you do. And when you do those things in full control that you are capable of both, is when there is a beginning journey of tightening in the cycles and having them make sense so that we can get closer to the focus point of what maybe you need to clear, so that way when energy bypasses that which hurts you because you have too much focus on that spot, then there are methodologies that you can show up to in order to release that energy, to release it and let it go, and not be contingent of the mind thinking that negative energy is something that you can soak up like a sponge. It's inevitable. You're more or less come breathing into it, because the creator that made you who you are in the 9 months that you were incubating also has gone through struggle, and struggle for beauty. The ultimate contradiction takes place when you haven't even given the breath of life yet, but you're in tune with the breath of life that you're being built upon and built within. When we take ourselves back to that space, that is a space that you may not remember, but it is part of you. So Ether, of the Justice and the Hermit within this bubble, are adamant to infer to you that the external voices, the external narratives of 2024, now when this reading is being recorded, but this is a timeless message, and beyond of time, because let's face it, 2024 is not really the correct calendar to be using, is more or less under control, that you do not have to worry about, besides this is your priority. This is your responsibility. You mind your own business and figure this shit out. Figure it out. Figure it the fuck 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 out. Figure it out. You know why this hurts? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 in numerology is the number of change. And boy, do a lot of people, 1313, think it's fucked up. But how necessary is it? Let's go back. Let's go back to class. How necessary is the 5? It's very fucking necessary. It's very, very fucking necessary. Sometimes it's not the strongest on its own, but it gets its power just enough to be able to handle things and to pivot things and to keep things entertaining. And it's almost where I want to introduce 5 being the inner inertia of everything, because that's how much you can feel it, and that's how much you have no control of everything. All right, let's get you some more cards, collective. You have the Hangman. In traditional tarot, it's the number 12. So 12 is beautiful in speaking about numerology real quick. 12 looks like 1 and 2 next to each other. So the uniformity that we spoke about earlier, the infinitum, is a complex notion of duality of two. And however complex it is up to 12 steps to see it in a form of written language. Okay, because you write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have 1 and 0, and then we have 1 and 1, and then 1 and 2. So there's a pattern of numbers that repeats itself. 1 and 2 is the first time we see 1 and 2 together. And that would make 12. So 12 is the first time we see the numbers 1 and 2 together. So that's important to the structure of however it may make sense to you. Okay, the feelings that come up. In my frequent developing changing of the story, it is no longer the number 12. This trifecta here with the Justice, Hermit, and the Hangman are for tarot readers perhaps complex to understand, because it indicates that, well, one, Ether has it under control, so there's not much needed to be read from this energy, more or less anticipate something to help you understand the story that's about to unfold for yourself. And visually, I show you these cards too, to show you that the imagery here is more or less very intriguing to what has an understanding to everything and whose responsibility it is if we're talking about the center point of the Two of Pentacles. Because that means you're illuminated. You're illuminated here with knowing. No matter what, because you are, and what are is, and what is are. All right, we're doing Page of Cups here. A little morose energy here. Someone may have lost somebody. Like I'm seeing beach setting by water. We have the Seven of Pentacles. For someone who's looking in the mirror a lot and searching for courage, know that you found it already. We have King of Pentacles. So we have Page of Cups, Seven of Pentacles? Yeah, Seven of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So we're almost swimming within that vortex of duality. And right here, right at the center point, where you might feel woozy, just uncomfortable, all right? That might be the life experience, being in that center point, never knowing, but being able to make decisions. And that's a lot of control to be had. And what it definitely defines is that you have a steering wheel access towards how well this organ, the heart, plays out. And it's more or less your job to look at fishy situations from a more fragile point of view that honors who you are and what you've put in for all this time. Because there's no way that you're going to allow negative energies no matter how important they are to introduce you to this world and get you to acclimate yourself to this world, those individuals also are comprised of pro and con energies and are also figuring out themselves. And usually a lot of people are keen on molding others before they mold themselves, because it's easier to be a bully towards someone else and a trigger for someone else than needing to explain to your own inner self why you're doing something or not. All right, let's see. Oh. Yeah, Five of Cups, that makes sense with all those cards coming out. Five of Cups energy. You're burdened, you don't really know where to go, perhaps. You know, you may have a difficult time leaving house just yet. May not be old enough just yet. That could be an age thing too. If you're, pardon me for being a little congested here. Childhood lullabies. You can cradle yourself. The reason why it may hurt very deeply is because there are certain emotions that happen throughout the day when you were below the age of 3. Okay, I'm getting that from the three of swords here, that you just don't remember. You just can't figure it the fuck out. And it's not your fault for not remembering, because that's such a long time ago. But what might be happening that you're remembering is a trauma of some kind. If you're Aquarius, go check out my sister channel. Alright, I'm just being told to tell you that. So the Three of Swords is telling me this may have happened, this dawning time of Five of Cups energy may have happened due to your body needing to protect yourself when you were below the age of 3. Okay, so obviously here, be careful. I may trigger you if I haven't gone down that alley anyway. So at that time, you were taking in information through your senses as being that age. And I'm not going to say you were 3 years young, because you were 3 years old, which means that you had the ability to understand more or less aspects of yourself, or in a way that you are just 3 or 2 or 1, however you are. And you were a sponge to everything that has occurred throughout the day. Maybe you couldn't communicate, but you probably did, right? You probably communicated, because I have a feeling that whoever is here listening to this reading isn't afraid to have a good conversation. Okay, so if you're not afraid to have a good conversation and you're there to like hear people out and be a good time and stuff like that, like you were someone who was like soaking up the world around you more so than needing to understand your inner emotions. So at nighttime, you may have been coddled to sleep listening to some music and you fell asleep. Your consciousness that you may not remember that happened at that time, or may have happened at that time, is you made yourself feel better in a time where you couldn't understand some of the pros and cons of everything that you were soaking up. And certain things in that time of that song is kind of locked up in those songs. So see whether or not you can go in that reminiscent time for a moment. It doesn't matter if you're in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 90, or go back into that time period for yourself perhaps and see if you can gain access to listening to some of those songs again. And just, it's not about so much about the lyrics, it's about a feeling. And I think that feeling will open up a door that if you're listening to this reading now and you've been dealing with heart pain, I think doing that will open the door of how you can change for the betterment of yourself. Because change is always happening, right? But you want to get out of something. You want to be like a snake skin, just shed out completely, just release it. And there are certain ailments within the way of you thinking you're actually in prison, and that's the wrong focus to focus on. It's the wrong focus. You can get out and be right in here. And then once you understand that, you may then just be then out there. So I'm going to leave it right there to have that energy do its thing. And yeah, I'm always here for that one-on-one should you want to, okay? I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. And may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.